Delhi Duty Free is continuing to improve in terms of offer, which is enhancing the passenger experience. What range improvements have been undertaken and why?
Well, we, as you can imagine, we do have a huge wide range of different passenger profiles, and we have from budget passengers through to top end. And I think for both reasons, we always need to be keeping our range and assortments fresh. So we have, if you take liquor and specifically whiskey is 70% of our liquor business, so very important. It's also, I think, Indians are the biggest drinkers of whiskey in the world. So what's been important for us is to develop our ranges, to make sure that range extensions, it's a mature market, so range extensions, new launches have been really important to us this year. But on the other hand, also we've introduced budget range products done in multi-buy forms so that they don't affect ATVs for the budget passengers as well. I think in addition to liquor, we've introduced mass market products, cosmetics, to our ranges for the same budget passengers, and we've also done something similar in confectionery as well.
And obviously the decision of the government to raise the baggage allowance from 35,000 rupees to 45,000 for inbound passengers may have increased arrival spend, but what are the main threats to your arrival business?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That increase in the allowance has meant that we've been able to put higher value products into our assortment in arrivals, and that in turn has had an influence on spends positively. I think when you talk about threats to the arrival business, that's mainly coming from destinations, key operators in key destinations for us. They get the opportunity to sell to our passengers before we do. So we will always try and encourage passengers to use our shop and collect service, which they will do on departures. So we target them before they fly. And also we'll voucher them so that they spend when they come back into the business. Another key threat, I would say, to the business would be the cut in the cigarette allowance, which happened recently with now 100 sticks. And that's had a negative impact on sales, but we're countering that by selling individual packs on till points now, duty free. We're also asking our suppliers to come back with 100 cartons, which we haven't seen in the industry for some time. So one supplier has now done that, so the sales are beginning to pick up again. But we're encouraging our other suppliers to also supply 100 packs.
And then with renovations and expansions key to maintaining and developing any travel retail business, what's the latest in terms of your arrival and departure renovation plans?
Yeah, we have some exciting developments in both areas, arrivals and departures. What we're looking to do is to introduce a walk-through store in both locations. We've already had sign-off for our arrivals project, and within the next couple of weeks we're looking for approval for departures. At that point, we'll then work very closely with our design consultants in coming up with a fantastic new shops in arrivals and departures, and then we'll be able to release that information to the wider public and start talking to our suppliers about positioning. So we're excited about this now. We have a departure hall that has what we consider a large motorway running down the middle of it, and passengers tend to choose either liquor on the left-hand side or perfume on the right-hand side. And I think what the future walk-through store will do is actually push penetration into all areas of the shop. And it's penetration that we have an issue with in Delhi, because it's only 12.5%, which is considerably less than the industry norm. So that's what we're targeting when we're trying to develop a walk-through store.
What do you think are the other main advantages of the walk-through concept? Because walk-throughs are almost synonymous with any new duty-free store in Europe, Asia, anywhere at the moment.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think that the advantage, of course, is that everyone sees every department and they don't have to pick and choose one over the other. We have some significant numbers that we're expecting to generate in terms of penetration from this store.
The main challenges, you talked about arrivals, the issues there. What would you say are some of the other main challenges internally and externally facing the business?
I think that, as we talked about earlier, the different profiles that we have, one thing that we've analysed is that because it's so diverse, one thing that we've looked at is that many of our passengers are travelling for the first time. 20% in fact of our passenger profile. So the challenges that are thrown up are, how do we communicate with a passenger that doesn't actually, they're traveling for the first time, they don't understand anything about airports, and they certainly don't understand what duty free is. So I think the way that we market our shops tends for them turns into an education. And I think comparisons, when we talk about price comparisons, I think the comparisons against the domestic market where they can save up to 60% are really important. But I think that we've worked hard on our analysis, and I think that we target our passenger profile accordingly now.
And also, sense of place is something that I know is very important to you.
Yeah.
Are you still looking to develop that sense of place, or have you reached the kind of level which you're happy with?
No, I think within the new setup, within the new shops, there's plans for a sense of place and destination, and we will always try and incorporate that into our designs and our offer. We have Indian products wherever we can in the shop, and there has been limitations as to what you can sell. For example, you can't. There were products that you couldn't, that if they were produced in India, you couldn't sell them through the shop. That's now changed. So in just about all categories, we have indigenous product within the ranges now.
And just to finalise, the new shops, when do you think it's all going to be ready? What's the time frame?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that we would be looking to complete our shops within the next 11 months. So this time next year, I would imagine that we'll be up and running 100%.